Hey everyone, welcome back to Extra Rise English Podcast, the show that helps you level up your English one real conversation at a time. I'm Mia.
And I'm Leo. So glad you are here.
Okay, before we get into today, I need to read you something. This is a real email I sent to a client about a year ago. Real email. I'm going to read it out loud. Hi, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to check in on the proposal we sent. I know you're busy. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts. No worries if you need more time, just let me know. Anyway, thanks so much. That was me. I sent that email. And when I wrote it, I genuinely thought it sounded polite, professional even, considerate. And then I went back and counted the words that are quietly lowering your professional status in English in that one email. There were 7.
And that's what today is about, because for a lot of English learners, especially those of us who grew up in cultures where softening your language is the respectful thing to do, there's a gap between how we think we sound and how we actually land. And closing that gap isn't about sounding more aggressive or more Western. It's about understanding which words send an unintended signal and then knowing what to say instead.
Today, we have 10 specific words and phrases that are quietly costing you professional authority in English. And more importantly, we have the upgrades. This is segment 1. Leo, let me start with the word that wrecked my email, just. Why is just such a problem in professional English?
So just is interesting because it doesn't feel like a loaded word. In casual conversation, it's neutral. Just give me a second. Just checking. But in professional contexts, especially in writing, just functions as what linguists call a minimizer. It makes whatever comes after it sound smaller, less important, more apologetic. I just wanted to follow up. That word just signals that you know your message might be an inconvenience, that you're asking permission to exist in that inbox at all. You're pre-apologizing before anything has gone wrong. And the reader, even without knowing why, picks that up. The impression shifts. You seem a little less certain of your own value.
And the thing is, you might not even need to follow up at all if you'd sent a confident first email. The apology is built in before anything goes wrong.
Exactly. And just isn't alone. It has a whole family of words that do the same thing. Basically is another one. When you say basically the data shows X, you're framing your own finding as elementary, as if a 5-year-old already knows this. But you're the one who analyzed the data. The data isn't basic. You're shrinking your own expertise before the other person has had a chance to receive it. You're pre-dismissing it for them.
Oh, okay, I've absolutely done that. Basically, the reason I'm recommending this is, and now I realize I was telling my manager that my recommendation was simple and obvious when it wasn't simple at all.
Right. And then there are the hedges. Kind of and sort of. I kind of think we should restructure this. What does that mean? Do you think it or do you not? Kind of signals that you're not fully standing behind your own idea. It's the verbal version of making a suggestion while already bracing for it to be rejected. In a meeting, that combination, I kind of think, reads not as humility. It reads as uncertainty, and people follow certainty.
So the first group is just, basically, kind of, sort of, and they all do the same thing. They make you sound like you're asking permission to have an opinion.
That's exactly it. And the second group is what I call apology starters. These are words and phrases you put at the beginning of a sentence that signal, before you've even made your point, that you're already sorry for making it. The biggest one is sorry, and I want to be clear, there's a place for real apologies in professional English. If something genuinely went wrong and you're responsible, I'm sorry is correct and necessary. But a lot of English learners, particularly from Filipino and Indonesian backgrounds, had developed a habit of using sorry as a filler. Sorry, can I ask something? Sorry, but I think there might be an issue here. You're not sorry, you're flagging something. The apology isn't the message. The message is the message.
And in Filipino especially, we have this deep cultural habit of softening everything, of making sure you're never imposing, always leaving the other person an exit. Sorry, ha, is basically a comma in Filipino conversation. It doesn't mean you did something wrong.
Exactly. That softening instinct is genuinely kind. It comes from a real cultural value around care and not wanting to burden someone. But in English professional contexts, the word sorry carries a much more specific meaning. It means something went wrong and you're taking responsibility for it. So when you use it as a filler, the listener hears something you didn't intend. They hear, this person thinks they're doing something wrong by speaking up. And that's not the signal you want to send.
What about actually? Because I've noticed actually can land strange too.
Actually is a double-edged word. When it comes at the beginning of a correction, like actually I think the number is different, it often lands as slightly confrontational, like you're emphasizing that the other person was wrong. Sometimes in light conversation it reads fine, but in writing especially, actually often adds a sharpness that wasn't intended. There are cleaner ways to introduce a correction without that edge.
And no problem. That one surprised me when I first learned this.
No problem and no worries are extremely common responses when someone thanks you, and they feel polite, you're saying, don't worry about it. But what they also do is introduce the possibility that there was in fact a problem, or that there might have been one. You're reassuring someone that what you did for them wasn't a burden. But what if you want to signal that it wasn't just not a problem, it was something you were genuinely glad to do? My pleasure or happy to help do that. They're not just neutral, they're positive. They say, I wanted to do this.
And the last one in this group is anyway. I use that one constantly.
Anyway is a reset word. It's used to move past something, to redirect. But midpoint, mid-explanation, anyway signals that whatever came before was a digression, that you wandered and you're now correcting yourself. When you're making a professional point, anyway can unintentionally tell the room that your own thinking was scattered. It dismisses your previous words before the listener has had a chance to take them seriously.
Okay, so the second group is sorry as a filler, actually as a correction opener, no problem, no worries, and anyway. And they all send a similar signal. You're pre-managing how people receive you instead of just letting your point land.
Yes, and the third group is the approval seekers. These are words and phrases that appear at the end of a sentence or at the start of an answer, and they signal that you need the listener to confirm that you're doing okay. You know, appended to every statement. Right after every point. Can I ask a question before asking a question? And filler sound at the start of a response. Like. All of these are attempts to check the temperature of the room before you commit to what you're about to say. And they have the same effect. They make you sound less sure of yourself than you actually are.
This one really hit me because right at the end of sentences is everywhere, and I didn't think of it as approval-seeking behavior. I thought of it as keeping the conversation going.
And it can be that. In a genuine back and forth, right invites dialogue. But when it appears at the end of every single statement, the pattern takes over. The listener starts hearing not tell me what you think, but please confirm I'm making sense. And it shifts the dynamic very subtly. The person saying right all the time is asking the other person to continuously evaluate them. And that's the opposite of authority.
Okay, I need a moment because this is a lot of my professional language. I've been accidentally apologizing for my ideas, hedging my own expertise, and asking for permission to be heard this whole time.
And so has almost every English learner who grew up in a culture where those signals mean something completely different. The good news is this. Now you know. And knowing is the whole first step. Let's talk about what to say instead. This is segment 2. 3 moves, 1 for each group, and they're not complicated, they're just specific. Upgrade 1, drop the qualifier. For minimizers like just, basically, kind of, and sort of, the upgrade isn't to replace them with a different word. The upgrade is to delete them, to say the thing without the apology built in.
Compare these two sentences. I just wanted to follow up on the proposal we sent versus I'm following up on the proposal we sent. The second one sounds like someone who expects a response. The first sounds like someone hoping they're not bothering you. And it's the exact same information. The only difference is the word just and the word wanted, which softens the action into a desire rather than a statement of what you're doing.
It really is that small. Same thing with basically. delete it. The report shows X is stronger than basically the report shows X. And instead of I kind of think we should do Y, say my recommendation is Y. That phrase alone, my recommendation is, signals ownership. You're putting forward a professional opinion.
And this is exactly the kind of language shift we bring you every week on Extra Rise. If what Leo just described is new to you, if you've been hedging your ideas without knowing it, subscribe right now so you never miss an episode like this one. Not for us, for the next time you're about to type, I just wanted to.
Upgrade 2. Lead with an assertion, not an apology. For sorry as a filler opener, replace it with a direct statement of what you're actually doing. Instead of sorry, I think there might be an issue here, say, I want to flag something here. That's it. 4 words. No apology, no pre-surrender, just a clear signal that something needs attention and you're the one bringing it. And for receiving thanks, replace no problem and no worries with my pleasure or happy to help. Both of those are positive, not just neutral. They don't just say the situation wasn't a burden, they say it was something you were glad to do. For corrections, instead of actually, I think the number is different, try looking at this again or I want to revisit that number. Both introduce the same correction without the edge that actually sometimes carries. And for anyway, when you catch yourself about to say a midpoint, stop. Let the point stand. If you genuinely need to redirect, say, the key thing I want to make sure we address is, that moves forward without dismissing what came before.
My pleasure. I want to flag something here. Those feel so different in my mouth, like someone who's in charge of their own words.
Upgrade 3. Open with the point, not permission to make it. For can I ask a question? Just ask the question. Questions don't need permission. For you know and right at the end of every sentence, let the sentence end. Trust that your point landed. And for the filler opener, or like at the start of a response, replace it with a clean entry phrase. My read on this is, here's what I noticed. So I think any of these take the same amount of time as about one breath, but they signal that you've considered the question and you're about to say something worth hearing.
3 upgrade moves. Say them out loud with me right now. My recommendation is, I want to flag something here. My pleasure. My read on this is, say those 3 out loud. Pause the episode right now and say them. You need to hear your own voice saying them before you can use them when it counts.
Let's recap the 3 upgrade moves. 1. Drop the qualifier. Delete just, basically, kind of, sort of. Replace hedged phrases with direct assertions. My recommendation is, I'm following up on, the report shows. 2. Lead with an assertion, not an apology. Replace sorry as a filler opener with, I want to flag something here. Replace no problem and no worries with my pleasure or happy to help. And when you catch anyway mid-sentence, stop. Let the point stand. 3. Open with the point, not permission. Skip, can I ask a question? Just ask. Drop you know and right as checkpoints after every sentence. And replace and like with a clean entry. My read on this is, here's what I noticed. So I think...
All right, the drill. 3 professional scenarios. Leo models the upgraded response. You say it out loud with him. Ready?
Ready.
Scenario 1. You sent a project proposal to a client 5 days ago and you haven't heard back. You need to follow up. You're going to read 2 versions out loud. First, the low status version. Read it out loud with me. Hi, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to check if you had a chance to look at the proposal. No worries if you're still busy. Just let me know whenever. Anyway, thanks so much. Now, Leo gives you the upgraded version. Say it out loud with him.
Hi, I'm following up on the proposal I sent on Monday. Happy to answer any questions or jump on a quick call if that would be helpful. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
Did you hear the difference? He removed 5 status-lowering words from that email. Gone. Sorry, just twice, no worries, and anyway. What's left is a professional, confident follow-up that assumes the email is worth responding to. Because it is. He didn't apologize for the email existing. He stated what he was doing, offered to help, and closed with a clear forward lean. That's authority. That's what a follow-up from someone who trusts their own work sounds like.
And notice it's shorter. Apology language adds words. Confidence removes them.
Say it out loud one more time. I'm following up on the proposal I sent on Monday. Happy to answer any questions or jump on a quick call if that would be helpful. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Say it now. Notice how your own voice sounds saying that. Scenario 2. You're in a team meeting. Your manager asks the group for input on a project timeline. The old version sounds like this. Sorry, I kind of think maybe we should kind of reconsider the timeline. I don't know, it's just a thought, you know? Say the upgraded version out loud with Leo.
My read on this is that the current timeline is too tight for the scope we're working with. My recommendation is to build in 2 additional weeks before the client review. I can walk through the reasoning if that would be helpful.
That's 4 sentences, and in those 4 sentences, there wasn't a single apology, not a single hedge, and not a single request for permission to have an opinion. My read on this is, that's an entry phrase that owns the perspective. My recommendation is, signals confidence, not arrogance. And I can walk through the reasoning if that would be helpful, tells the room there's substance behind the point, and you're prepared to share it. The content is the same. The only thing that changed is how he entered the room with it.
And the room responds to that entry. Whether they agree or disagree with the recommendation, they take it seriously because it was offered seriously.
Say it out loud. My read on this is, and then fill it in with something from your own work this week. Any opinion you've been holding back. Try it now. Last one, scenario 3. Your manager pulls you aside after the meeting and says, that was a really good point about the timeline. Thank you for speaking up. The old version, oh no, problem, it was nothing. I just thought maybe it was worth mentioning. Sorry if it came across wrong. Say the upgraded version out loud with Leo.
Thank you. I've been thinking about that section of the project for a few days. Glad it was helpful.
This one is subtle, but it might be the most important of the 3. He accepted the compliment. He didn't deflect it. He didn't say, it was nothing. He said, thank you. He acknowledged the work behind the point and closed with, glad it was helpful. Clean, warm, professional. He confirmed the compliment without trying to convince his manager that the positive assessment was wrong. Because that's what we do when we say it was nothing. We argue against the recognition we just received.
Receiving recognition well is its own professional skill. It tells people that you know the value of your contributions, and that makes them more likely to give you credit again.
Say it out loud. Thank you. I've been thinking about that section of the project for a few days. Glad it was helpful. Say it as if your manager just said something kind to you, because they will, and now you have the words ready. Go back and say all 3 responses out loud. The follow-up email, the meeting point, the received compliment. Say them until they feel like your natural voice, not borrowed words you're trying on for size, because that's what they should eventually sound like. You, but more precise, more intentional, more certain. Not louder, not more aggressive, just more fully present in your own words. All right, here's your one thing from today. Every time you're about to type, I just wanted to, or say, sorry before an idea, pause. Ask yourself, am I softening this because I'm genuinely uncertain, or because I was taught that shrinking is what polite sounds like? If it's the second one, drop it. Your idea doesn't need an apology before it. Your follow-up doesn't need to ask permission to arrive. And your recommendation doesn't need to be kind of anything. It's your professional opinion. Offer it like one.
And here's something worth sitting with. The 10 words we talked about today aren't wrong English. In the right context, most of them are perfectly fine. Sorry when you're genuinely sorry. Actually, in a light, warm conversation, you know when you're talking with a friend and you genuinely want their reaction, the problem isn't the individual words. The problem is the pattern. When these words appear together, in sequence and professional settings, the pattern sends a signal you didn't mean to send. Now you see the pattern. That's the whole shift.
Your assignment for this week. Open one email you wrote in the last 2 weeks. Find every just. Delete every single one. Read the email again, then come to the comments and tell us, did it sound different? Did it sound like you, but with a little more authority? We want to hear that moment.
We genuinely do.
And if this episode rewired something in how you see your own professional language, share it with one person in your life who sends emails that start with, sorry to bother you. Not because it helps us, because that person deserves to know they've been shrinking unnecessarily, and they don't have to.
And if you want more of this every single week, subscribe. We'll be here.
Thank you so much for being here on Extra Rise English Podcast. And remember,
Because one serving of English is never enough.
see you in the next episode.